You're exhausted. You've been exhausted all day. You counted down the hours until you could finally lie down, close your eyes, and disappear into sleep. And now, you're here, in the dark, staring at the ceiling, wide awake, and the harder you try to fall asleep, the more impossible it becomes. This is not a personal failure. This is not a character flaw. What's happening to you in that bed, in that quiet room, is one of the most misunderstood biological crises of the modern world. And the reason it's happening has almost nothing to do with your mattress, your caffeine intake, or your screen time. It goes much deeper than that. It goes back tens of thousands of years to a time when falling asleep in the wrong place at the wrong moment could cost you everything. Your body was never designed to sleep the way modern society tells you to. For most of human history, sleep was not a safe, private, uninterrupted 8-hour block. It was a dangerous vulnerability. When you slept, you couldn't defend yourself. You couldn't see predators approaching. You couldn't respond to threats from rival groups. Sleep, for your ancestors, was the most exposed they ever were. And the humans who slept too deeply, too easily, too trustingly in uncertain environments didn't survive to pass on their genes. The ones who did survive were the ones whose nervous systems stayed partially alert even in sleep, the ones who woke at small sounds, the ones whose bodies resisted full unconsciousness when the environment felt unsafe. You are descended from those people, every single one of them. Anthropologist David Samson at the University of Toronto has studied sleep across hunter-gatherer societies and found something that completely overturns the modern idea of what healthy sleep looks like. In groups like the Hadza of Tanzania, one of the only remaining populations living in conditions close to our evolutionary past, people do not all sleep at the same time. Sleep is staggered. Different individuals in the group are awake at different hours throughout the night. Samson calls this the sentinel hypothesis. The group is never fully asleep all at once. There is always someone or several someones partially awake and monitoring the environment. This was not a choice. This was biology. And that biology is still inside you. Your circadian rhythm, the internal clock that governs when you feel sleepy and when you feel alert, is an ancient system. It is calibrated not just to light and darkness, but to temperature, social cues, physical exertion, and the hormonal landscape of your body. For most of human history, all of these signals were aligned. You moved during the day. You were exposed to full-spectrum sunlight from morning until dusk. You ate according to what was available and when you could find it. And when night came, you sat around a fire with your social group, gradually cooling as the temperature dropped, and your body shifted naturally into the hormonal conditions that allow sleep. That fire, it turns out, was doing something extraordinary. Neuroscientist Matthew Walker, whose research on sleep has fundamentally reshaped how scientists think about the sleeping brain, points out that firelight emits almost no blue spectrum light. It is warm, amber, dim, and it is precisely blue spectrum light that suppresses melatonin, the hormone your body uses to signal that sleep is approaching. Firelight allowed melatonin to rise naturally as darkness fell. Your eyes were receiving light that was chemically compatible with sleep onset. The screen you stare at before bed emits the opposite. It floods your retinas with high-intensity blue spectrum light. Your brain receives this signal and interprets it as midday sunlight. Melatonin production stops or stalls. Your internal clock is told, clearly and repeatedly, that it is not time to sleep. And then you lie down and wonder why your mind won't quiet. But screens are only part of the story, and they are not even the deepest part. Think about the temperature of the room where you try to sleep. Most people in modern environments sleep in rooms that are too warm. Your core body temperature needs to drop by approximately 1 to 1.5 degrees Celsius to initiate and maintain sleep. This is not a preference. It is a physiological requirement. And for your ancestors, this temperature drop happened automatically. As night fell and the fire burned lower and the air cooled around them, their bodies responded. The drop in ambient temperature triggered the drop in core body temperature, which allowed the brain to shift into the slow wave and REM stages that make sleep restorative. In a heated modern bedroom, that signal never fully arrives. The body waits for a cue that doesn't come. Sleep is shallower, more fragmented, easier to disrupt. And then there's the social dimension of sleep, the one almost no one talks about. For the vast majority of human history, you did not sleep alone. You slept in close physical proximity to other members of your group. Children slept with parents. Adults slept near siblings, partners, community members. The presence of other warm bodies was not just comfort. It was a biological safety signal. Other bodies nearby meant the group was intact. It meant that if a threat arrived, you were not facing it alone. It allowed the nervous system to release some of its nocturnal vigilance. Research by psychologist Wendy Troxell at Rand Corporation has shown that co-sleeping adults, despite occasional disruptions from a partner's movement, show lower levels of cortisol, the primary stress hormone, during the night than people sleeping alone. The body's threat assessment system is quieter when another trusted person is present. Not because the modern bedroom is safer with two people in it, but because for 4 million years, sleeping near another person meant you were safer. If this video helped you see yourself differently, consider leaving a like. It may seem like a small action, but it tells YouTube to share these ideas with more curious minds. And if you know someone who constantly wonders why modern life feels so strange, share this video with them. Together, we can uncover the ancient systems still shaping the modern world. If you sleep alone, some part of your ancient nervous system is aware of that, and it does not fully relax. Now add to all of this the thing that most profoundly separates modern sleep from ancestral sleep, and that is the mind's relationship with tomorrow. Your ancestors had worries. They had real, immediate physical threats to contend with. But they did not lie awake at night, mentally rehearsing conversations that hadn't happened yet. They did not run financial projections while trying to fall asleep. They did not scroll through social comparisons or replay embarrassing moments from 3 years ago, or catastrophize about a future they couldn't control. Their nervous systems were tuned to the present environment, to the sounds around them, to the temperature of the air, to the position of the stars. The prefrontal cortex, the seat of abstract thought, planning, and self-reflection, is a relatively recent addition to the human brain. And it is extraordinarily active in modern humans, in ways and at times it was never designed to be. When you lie in a quiet room with nothing to do and nowhere to be, the prefrontal cortex does not go quiet. It goes searching, it generates scenarios, it rehearses, it worries. Not because something is wrong with you, but because a brain that powerful, given nothing urgent to process, turns its processing power onto itself. Psychologist Harvey Allison, who spent decades studying the cognitive patterns of insomniacs, identified what he called the hyperarousal model. The insomniac brain is not a broken brain. It is an overactive one. It is a brain stuck in a state of high alertness that evolved for a specific purpose, and now cannot find its off switch in the conditions modern life creates. The cruel irony is that the very act of trying to fall asleep makes it harder. Sleep cannot be forced. It is a passive process. It requires the nervous system to perceive safety and release vigilance. And the harder you try, the more aroused your nervous system becomes and the further sleep retreats. Your brain interprets effort as threat. Effort means something is at stake. Something is wrong. And when something is wrong, the body does not sleep. Matthew Walker describes this as one of the great mismatches of the modern era. We live in a world that demands sleep, measures sleep, pathologizes the failure to sleep, and sells countless products designed to force sleep. And all of that pressure creates precisely the cognitive and physiological conditions that make sleep impossible. Your ancestors did not try to sleep. They simply stopped being awake. There is also something worth knowing about the shape of sleep itself. The assumption that healthy sleep means 8 unbroken hours is a remarkably recent invention. Historian Roger Ekirch spent 16 years researching historical sleep patterns and published findings that transformed how scholars think about pre-industrial rest. Before artificial lighting became widespread, humans across cultures slept in 2 distinct phases, separated by a period of quiet wakefulness in the middle of the night. They called it the first sleep and the second sleep. The wakeful period in between, lasting anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour or more, was used for reflection, prayer, quiet conversation, or intimacy. Historical records describe it as a gentle, calm state of alertness, not insomnia. When electric light extended the waking day and compressed the night, this natural two-phase sleep pattern was pushed into a single block. And millions of people who wake at 2 or 3 in the morning and lie there anxious about why they can't stay asleep may simply be experiencing the ghost of a biological rhythm that their ancestors lived out openly every night. You are not broken. You are ancient. So tonight, when you lie in the dark and your mind won't stop and your body won't release, know this. What you are experiencing is not a failure of willpower. It is not a medical anomaly. It is the echo of a nervous system built for a world that demanded partial wakefulness every night. A world where sleeping too deeply could mean not waking up at all. The ceiling you're staring at is just the savannah in the dark. And every restless hour is your ancient brain doing exactly what it was built to do, keeping you alive, whether you need it or not. The strangest part is that this pattern appears everywhere in modern life. And once you see it, it becomes difficult to ignore. If you enjoy this kind of exploration, consider subscribing. Leave a like if this video helped you see yourself differently. And if someone in your life would find this fascinating, share it with them. Together, we can uncover the ancient brain hidden beneath the modern world.